I'm going to show you two different options on the piano of how to practice chords, and you tell me which option you would rather sit at a piano for a while and practice. Option number one. Option number two. Option number one has you practicing chords and chord inversions. Great. But option number two, you are practicing chords, you're practicing chord inversions, you are practicing voice leading, arpeggios, rhythm, right hand, left hand coordination, expressive playing with touch, dynamics, and tempo, pedaling, songwriting, musical critical thinking, all while making beautiful music that is fun to figure out and play. So why would I prefer option number two myself as a teacher and a piano player? If you don't know me, my name is Matt Hodge. For the last 15 years, I have been a music professor and a professional piano player and composer, and I work with hundreds of students, and I can tell you, music theory, things like scales, chords, chord inversions, all of that fun stuff, you have to approach it a little bit like vegetables, right? We know they're good for us. We know they make us strong, right? They are things that we should have daily as a piano player. But honestly, they're not the most delicious, right? They're not tasty to eat all the time. So how do we get students excited to want to sit at a piano and not just run piano drills? Meaning, play your scales up and down over and over and over, play your chords up and down over and over. If you do that, it feels like school, and it feels like I'm running a piano drill, which can be fine, and there is a place for that sometimes. But I quickly try to move students from drills to, I want them to feel like they're making music, right? Option number two practices all of the things that I would love for them to practice, but in a way that it feels like they're making music, they're creating music, something like you would hear in a pop song or in a film score. It makes it so much more exciting and fun. So I'm going to show you in this video just basic steps of how to break down what I just showed you between those two options. It's 7 easy steps to go from this type of traditional drill into creating music. Ooh, I would much rather play that. I don't know about you. So let's dive into it. Okay, step number one, you are going to choose 4 chords, all from the same key signature. Now, I will say this too, in case you don't know about key signatures and scales and chords, or you need a kind of refresher or assistance with it. Down in the video description below, I have a link to a free 24-page guide that I call the Ultimate Intro to Piano Chords and Scales. And you can download that, and all the stuff I'm going to break down in today's video is in there, and it can help you a lot. So you're going to choose a key signature or scale, and you're going to choose 4 chords. So for this example, the 4 chords that I showed in the options, I'm doing A minor, C major, G major, and F major. Okay, and the order I did them in actually was A minor, C major, G major, F major. Okay. So step one is you just choose your 4 chords, okay? So if you need to write them down, what are the chords? What are the notes in each one? So here for C major, that C major chord is C, E, G. That A minor chord is A, C, E. That G major chord is G, B, D. That F major chord is F, A, C. So that's the sandbox we're working in, okay? Step number 2. You are going to start in your left hand, and you are going to figure out the inversions for those chords based on what we call voice leading. Now, voice leading means, how can I play those chords? So I want to play those 4 chords in the order that I want to do them. A minor, C major, G major, F major. But how can I do it where my hand is moving as little as possible? That's basically a way you can think about voice leading. Because let me show you something. Look at my hand here, my left hand. If I just play all four of those chords in what we call root position, which is like the way you learn them. So A minor, A C E, C E G, G major, G B D, F, F A C. If I just play those chords in the root position, there's two things that are not great about it. Number one, look how much my hand has to kind of bounce around. It's a lot of bouncing. And in our left hand, we often think when we learn chords, we always learn them in the root position and then we just play them always in that position, but it gets a little muddy in the left hand. Professional piano players often don't play chords in the root position in the left hand. Because once you get low, it gets muddy, right? So we want to do different things with them. And one of the tricks to it is inversions, voice leading. So I'm going to do A minor instead of here. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to do what's called a first inversion. I'm going to take that bottom note, that A, and move it up here. See how this sounds muddy, but by moving it a little higher up the piano, that doesn't sound as muddy. Now, my next chord, my second chord is C major, so I have to do some critical thinking. Okay, I have C, E, A, right? And I want to get to C, E, G. Those are the three notes for my C major. How can I go from where my hand is now to those three notes, C, E, G, in as little of movement as possible? All right, I want you to think about it for a second before I show you. Look at my fingers. How can I get to C, E, G with as little movement as possible? The answer is I'm just going to move one finger. Which finger am I going to move? It's going to be that thumb, right? Because I have C, E, A here. Well, now I just have to go C, E, G. So the A minor chord isn't in root position, but the C major chord is. But look how beautiful that movement is. This is voice leading. I'm changing chords with as little movement as possible. Now I want to go from C, E, G to my third chord, my G major chord. So how can I go from C, E, G to some order of G, B, D? Those are the notes that make up a G major chord, but it's done in a way that there's less movement as possible. I'm going to do this. See how little my hand moved? My top note got to stay the same, and my bottom two fingers just moved down one. So instead of going G, B, D, I have B, D, G. And then my fourth chord, F major, exact same riddle. How can I go from, I got B, D, G, how can I get to F, A, C, some order of that, without moving too much? The answer is going to be this. I could do that, or I could do this. Either one works. I can move down to this, which puts F major in a first inversion, because the middle note is on the bottom, or I could move up, and it puts F major in a second inversion, because that top note is on the bottom. So sometimes there's multiple options. So now I've got my four chords in a voice leading method and using chord inversions that make sense. So my hand is moving as little as possible. So look at my hand. A minor, C major, G major, F major. Yeah, there's so many different ways you can do it. There's not always a right or wrong way. It's just about what feels more natural, right? I could go from C major to G major up here if I wanted to, or it's not. It's just about what's the smallest amount of movement that you can do. Now, step number 3, once you figured that out, your chords and your chord inversions, now we're going to practice pedaling. So, pedaling, sustained pedal, when you hit your foot down, it helps notes ring, right? So this is a perfect way to practice when we have chord progressions, a series of chords. So simply you want to change the pedal every time you change chord. So a way to practice is to hit the keys and then take your hand off of it to remind yourself the pedal is doing the work to hold it. So if I have my first chord with the pedal down, Then when I play the second chord, I want to move the pedal up and down. So usually what we're going to do is a sort of a little bit of a timing thing. While you're hitting the next chord, you're taking the pedal off, and then it's like immediately putting it back down. So we have pedal, 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 pedal. Yeah, so you just practice that a few times. Okay, step number 4. In our right hand, we're going to start to add some rhythm. So we're going to pretend like we are in a 4/4 time signature, which basically means we have 4 beats per measure, right? So we're going to have our beat is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to put eighth notes in our right hand, meaning eighth notes, there are 2 notes per beat. So 1 and 1 and 1 and. So we often use the word, use the lingo and for eighth notes. So we'll go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now the goal is for each chord, figure out 2 notes that you could play, any combination of 2 notes from the chord, but you're going to do it one at a time. So if I have my A minor chord in my left hand, right hand, where could I go? Oh, okay, I have C and E, right? I have A, C, and E to work with as an A minor chord. C and E right here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right? So you want to start with just doing 2 notes, and you just kind of alternate, all right? So you figure that out for each chord. Those 2 notes also work for C major. All right, now, once you get comfortable with just doing 2 notes, then you can add 3 notes if you want. So you could try to add, like an A minor, we have A, C, E, or I could have, right? I can try to add some stuff. Right, however complicated you want to make it, but you're still just going to play any notes in the chord that it's over, okay? So something like that would be. All right, so we're going to do 2 measures per chord, okay? Step number 5, back to our left hand. If our right hand is doing eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3, our left hand is going to do quarter notes. Whatever the bottom note of the inversion you're doing, so if my first chord is that A minor chord, I'm going to just let that bottom note stay, sort of like a drone note. But I'm going to put quarter notes in the top 2. So if this is my beat, right, and in my right hand I was doing 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, then my quarter notes are on the beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that can be like this. And you do that per chord. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now, notice what I did is instead of playing all 3 notes for each chord at the same time, now I'm making them where I have the bottom note and that top note at the same time, and then I'm filling in that middle note with the quarter notes. Okay, now step number 6, put them both together, all right? So what you are doing is you are playing arpeggios in both hands, just in different rhythms. Arpeggios mean we're breaking the chords up, playing 1 note at a time. If I play a chord like this, that's a chord. If I go like this, that's an arpeggio. So this is an A minor chord. This is an A minor arpeggio. So you're doing that in both hands, right? Because you're doing 1 note at a time notes from the chords. So it's just your right hand's doing eighth notes, your left hand's doing quarter notes. So now try putting that together. Yeah. So then step 7, to add some musicality to it, practice for each set of chord, for every 2 measures, you're going to do sort of a swell. So a swell means you're going to practice having a gentle touch and then crescendo, decrescendo, meaning let it get louder and then softer. And with that, even let the tempo sort of hover a bit, right? So it can be as you get louder, it can get a little quicker. As you get softer, it can slow down. It gives it a life to it, some expression. So instead of going like this, kind of like a computer, put a human emotion into it. Yeah, and it makes it feel like music, like you're making music, the way someone would play it in a film score or in a pop song. So then once you have that, that is what you got. And then just keep repeating it and pick different chords, pick a different key signature or stay in that same key signature, but swap out some chords, and also practice it in different octaves, right? So on piano, we call that the register, which basically just means what octave am I playing in? So I could do that exact same thing, except I could do it up here. That gives it a little bit of a haunting feel, right? Or even way up here. Ooh, isn't that beautiful, right? And then also practice not only just adding different chords, but also as you do the chords, once you get really comfortable with it, then you can start to add in your right hand more leaps, and you can start to add for each chord, maybe 1 or 2 notes that's not in that chord, so you start to make a melody. So maybe something like this. Right? I did up here, I was jumping up to A, B, C. Well, B isn't in that A minor chord, but I'm just throwing it in. So there's so many different ways you can do it. So instead of doing this over and over like a robot, do stuff like this. Isn't that a much more fun and beautiful way to practice chord and chord inversions and dynamics and pedaling and rhythm and right-left hand coordination? It wraps it all up together. So practice this, all right? Again, I have that free download, that 24-page free PDF download in the video description. All you have to do is click the link and all of the key signatures and chords are in there. So it'll really help you figure this stuff out for you to practice on your own. I even have visuals in there that show you exactly how to play each chord. And then you practice doing all the fun inversions and arpeggios and turning it into really cool sounding music. So try it on your own. Please let me know in the comments how it worked. I love hearing what tips and tricks are working for you, and let me know in the comments what topics you'd like me to cover in a future piano topic video. I'm here for you. I love teaching. I love helping people discover the joy of piano, especially people that are at a beginner level that feel like, oh, I can't do it, or I'm not good enough at piano. I don't want you to ever say that again, okay? I'm here to help you. So thank you so much for spending time with me. Click on a video on the screen to check out some more piano tips and tricks from me, all right? Click like, subscribe, comment if you liked the video. I hope you did. And until next time, keep making music.